So as everyone knows, Jon Jones is out of UFC 200, but more footage has been released. The first video we're going to throw to is, it was taken behind the scenes, Daniel Cormier reacting to Dana White, delivering the news to him. So let's take a look at that first before we get into the discussion.
Come on. Come on.
I know, bro. Fuck, I'm so sorry.
Come on.
I'm so fucking sorry.
Like, is there anything I can do? Like, I'll sign a release and we can just fight.
Can't do it.
That's a bummer. Put a lot into this. Fuck.
Sorry, man.
It's actually madness.
All right, so Jason, Daniel Cormier, of course, 37 years of age. Just all too familiar finding out news that Jon Jones hasn't gone about things the right way, right? So, again, there's many other sources that are waiting to hear the full disclosure of the news. Test B has been taken, see how things pan out. We're not going to do that. Well, I'm not going to do that. I don't know if you're going to. I'm just going to go into the fact that it's just all too familiar that Jon Jones makes a mistake. And it's all too familiar that a lot of people make excuses for him, but I don't think we are going to do that. But let's see the reaction from Jon Jones, because you can see he was very distraught when he was delivering the news at the press conference. So we'll look at that first, and then we'll get into the discussion.
You know, I believe that something good will come from this. But right now, it's hard to see it. I'm sorry that I'm crying. I believe that something good will come from this, but right now it's hard to see it, and I just got to keep going.
But you have trainers who get paid a lot of money. And if you're Jon Jones, high 6 figures, maybe low 7 figures. You have a team who has known about the USADA banned substance list. The UFC did a pretty darn good job of blasting that out to every trainer, every fighter. They know about the new rules, right? This isn't so much like a BJ Penn situation where he fought in a time where this all got flipped upside down and the IV thing kind of came up, and it seemed very authentic in the way that he said, I took it was in the interview, I took an IV last week. It was like one of those, like, it wasn't even like a slip up, it was, that's how I used to fight. With Jon Jones, and I'm sure you're gonna get into more, you don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. You just don't. You messed up too many times. So I can't speculate into saying that I know for a fact that Jon Jones knowingly took some form of banned substance. But I find it very, very impossible to believe that someone on Jon Jones's team or Jon Jones himself unknowingly gave him this substance.
That's what Dana White got into as well. And first of all, completely agree with that.
Respect to Cormier for still wanting to fight him.
I'm going to get to Cormier in a minute because he does deserve a lot of respect. Dana White, first of all, was on Colin Cowherd's show and talked about how it's not just Jon Jones, it's the full background staff. He said they're just as despicable because he said they probably knew, and they've not. There's a crisis in that camp, right? And this is what I'm getting to, is that Denise White, his crisis management expert, has been more prominent in Jon Jones's fights than Jon Jones himself. She's always there because she needs to deal with the crisis that is Jon Jones. The amount of hate that we got on the clip when we talked about the whole drag racing situation, I can accurately speculate that this guy has got problems when it comes to making the right decisions. He has problems when it comes to being taken seriously. And I have a problem with Jon Jones in giving him the benefit of the doubt. And you're right with that, because he's lost that kind of leeway. He's undoubtedly one of the best fighters we've seen, but that doesn't give him free rein to do what he wants. This is a guy that had a hit and run, left the scene. This is a guy that took cocaine, was found out for that, but they still let him fight anyway. Like, there's just, excuses are running out. I don't care how talented you are. And this is another reason I want to get to, is that Cormier deserves a lot of respect, and he admits that he's made a lot of mistakes in his life. And if you see his reaction to the fight, he admits that. He doesn't even judge Jon Jones. He could have went up there and ripped that guy apart.
No, he didn't.
He's cost him 6 figures plus. He's cost him a lot of money. Thankfully, Anderson Silva steps in to try and save some of the gate and try to keep some of the return that Daniel Cormier is going to get, but it's not going to be of the same return. He's cost him some figures. It's not just personal now, it's financial. He's cost him figures there. And Daniel Cormier says he's not the moral police. He's not going to come out here and say that Jon Jones is a bad guy for doing this, this, and this. And he actually even alluded to the fact that Jon Jones maybe should get another chance when he comes back, because he's like, people have given me chances.
He's undoubtedly going to get another chance.
Oh, there's no doubt.
He's going to be 29 years old. Oh, well, I take that back. The speculation as to now and the rumors circulating is that he might serve a 2-year suspension. When asked about, Dana White said, I don't know. If he does get upwards of a 2-year suspension, he'll be 29 years old when he comes back, and he still can get into, obviously, peak physical shape and get back into the octagon and dominate if he wanted to. Granted, part of that, in 2 years, there'll be, I'd have to safely assume, a new light heavyweight champion, because in 2 years, Cormier will be 39. I'm not sure if he's still going to be fighting at that point. We don't know. But it really, the biggest loser in this situation, and not loser in the derogatory sense, like just overall, I feel terrible for him, is Daniel Cormier. Mm-hmm. And everybody should. He's wanted this fight so many times. I mean, there's guys like Mark Ingram of the New Orleans Saints, who's a running back, who tweeted out, twice I've had tickets to see Jones versus Cormier too. Twice Jones has screwed me out of seeing Jones versus Cormier too. Yeah.
So before we get into Anderson Silva, who stepped in, very short notice, not a title fight because a guy rolling off the couch. Yeah, he's in shape. We don't know if he could go 5 rounds, especially.
Turn back the clock.
Yeah, turn back the clock, the spider. But there's one other point that I did want to get to. All right, MMA, UFC fans, I love you guys. I really do. You're passionate, you're rabid, very familiar to me as a notorious football fan. But I am a fan of the sport as well. But I can see clearly when an athlete has to be held accountable. A lot of people can't, and they'll make excuses for Jon Jones. But one person that they don't make excuses for, who is a person that, for me, has stood out now to be someone who is needed in this sport more than most of the fighters himself, and it's Dana White. Because he's the man, he's not taking any performance-enhancing drugs.
Dana White?
Dana White. The guy who organizes the sport.
Okay, I thought you were
No, he's not fighting. I'm saying...
I thought you were alluding to somebody.
No, Dana White. I am right.
So you're right, he's not taking any performance. He's probably not taking any drugs.
He's not taking... But you know what he has to do? Is he has to sweep up the shit at the end of the day again. He has to sweep up and reorganize the fight. And it's something that I agree again with Colin Cowherd. Go and watch his analysis on it. He wraps it up. Colin Cowherd gets hate mail when it comes from the UFC fans because they hate the fact that he always
He doesn't have a YouTube comment section.
He sides with Dana White all the time. Dana White had to pick up the pieces when Conor McGregor didn't abide by the rules. He has to pick up the pieces. I'm not saying he's a hero. I'm just saying that without Dana White, the person who Colin Cowherd calls the adult in the room, the shit will hit the fan more often than not. It hits the fan quite a lot in this sport. But you needed an adult to manage these
I've backed up
players.
Dana White more times than not. The one in which I didn't was on Donald Cerrone. But I mean, look, when you're a commissioner of any, president of any sport, any organization, any successful organization, because the UFC is very successful. When you look at Dana White, it's one of those things where he's the fixer. If you've ever seen the movie Michael Clayton, I'm making a reference that nobody's going to get, but George Clooney plays a fixer.
The show that was out with...
Mike the Fixer from Breaking Bad. That is literally Dana White's job.
Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan.
He's a fixer.
It's a great example. You need that person. Dana White is exactly that person.
And he's not supposed to be likable. That's the thing, because it's just like, it's not his job to be likable. People aren't selling out seats to go and see Dana White standing at the side with his bald head
I would do anything
shouting.
to see Dana White fight Joe Rogan.
That'd be fun. That would be fun. That would be fun. But again, his job, you're right, his job is to set the card, is to try and fill the seats, and is to make money for the business. And time again, as you can see, he was distraught. He was just like, this sucks. I don't look like I had to do this far too often. And Conor McGregor, of course, takes his shots at getting one over. He's like, I missed the press conference.
Right.
But I think he's kind of hiding away from the fact that he did more than that. It wasn't even the press conference.
Yeah,
it was a tweet. It was a retirement.
It's fair. It's an apples to oranges type of thing. But again, McGregor makes a good point in that situation. I thought Diaz made the best point.
They're all on steroids.
They're all on steroids.
If I close my eyes, you don't do a lot of good impersonations.
It's not bad.
Your Trump isn't as good as mine, but that is a good one.
But is that based on anything, by the way?
My Trump's great. It's huge.
It's huge.
I'm going to get Jon Jones in the octagon. You're all going to pay for it. It's going to
Oh
be
man,
huge.
what's the question for the comment section?
I don't know,
Do you
man.
feel
I
bad
don't know
for
what
Cormier?
They're going to rip apart.
What
rip us
fight
apart
are you
for
looking
Jon
forward
Jones.
to? Is Anderson Silva gonna beat Daniel Cormier?
I'm still going to tune in for Brock Lesnar. I'm still going to tune in for
Edgar versus Aldo.
too.
Toot versus Nanes. Toot versus Nanes. Tate versus Noon.
Toot versus Tate just made the. By the way, she just made the weigh-in as well. She was like moments away from her fight being cancelled because she didn't turn up on time apparently. So they threw her in there, got her naked on the scale, bang. Yeah, they had to hide her up
Like
with the
butt
towels.
naked on the scale?
Butt naked on the scale.
Jeez. What kind of weigh-ins are you doing, Dana White? I'm just kidding. We're kidding.
But
Comment
we'll
below.
be here. We will be covering the fight, by the way. We'll do a quick reaction.
my apartment.
From Jason's apartment Saturday night. There will be brownies, there will be beer, and there will be bonding. I know what they're going to take that now. All right, just comment. Been out of the business too long.
Seriously?
I don't know where I went with
Bonding?
bonding. I don't know where I went with that.
Bitches. Babes. Brownies.
Bitches. Ah, they're my girlfriend. I'd rather
Brownies.
bonding than bitches because my girlfriend can't get
Beagles.
mad at bonding.
Bagels.
Bagels. All right, scrap it. Bagels.
Anything.